Hey guys, this is Jocelyn from Fantasia Elegance with a jewelry tutorial for you. Today I'll be showing you how to make this coil and ball style of French hook ear wire. So the first thing we're going to do is to take our 4-inch piece of 22 gauge wire and we're just going to bend this right in half, making sure the ends meet together. And then I'm going to crimp the end down here using my chain nose pliers. So just crimping that completely flat. And I'm going to straighten out these two ends so they're parallel to each other. There we go. Now what we're going to do, we're actually making both ear wires together for a little bit here, and we're starting at the end that goes into your ear. So the first bend I'm going to make, very slightly like that, is going to be this first bend right here. So the next thing, of course, is to put in the curve for our ear wire. So I'm just going to wrap these around a Sharpie. And once you have your arch coming back like this, you want to find the point roughly across from that first bend we made. And gripping both wires with my chain nose pliers, I'm going to bend these two tails straight down. Just like that. And if they got a little uneven, we can just fix that up. There we go. Now at this point we're going to go ahead and separate these out. So taking my flush cutters, I'm just going to snip off the very tip here so that we have two separate ear wires. So now we're ready to slide on the coils, so let's go ahead and make those. We're going to take that scrap piece of 20 gauge wire I mentioned earlier and our 24 gauge dead soft wire, and you're going to simply start wrapping this in a tight coil around our scrap piece here. So you're going to continue wrapping until you have approximately 3/4 of an inch spool here, and then you're going to slide this off of our scrap wire. And I'm going to snip this right at the end here, so we just have a coil. Alright, now you're going to cut this coil roughly in half. And I think I actually made mine a little bit too long. You want about 1/4 of an inch for each coil. So I'm just going to trim those down just a smidge. And I'm just checking they're both the same length roughly. So now that we have our coils, we're going to slide these onto our ear wires, just like so, and just like so, and then go ahead and pull out your 3mm beads. We're going to need 2 of these, of course. And we're going to slide this on here as well. And then all we have to do is make the loop at the end. So taking my chain nose pliers right below the bead, I'm going to bend it sharply to one side. Then using my round nose pliers, I'm going to wrap this tail on around. And if you can't quite grip the last little bit here, you can just use your chain nose pliers. To wrap it around. And then, right where our wrap meets, I'm just going to snip off the excess wire, just like so, and close that on up with my chain nose pliers. Just like so. And again, doing the same thing with our other pair, with our other earring, excuse me. Okay, so at this point, you have two options for finishing these. I highly recommend tumbling them, just to add some strength. You can also hammer them out with a steel bench block, so let me pull mine out and show you how to do that. So I have here my steel bench block to finish up these ear wires. So what we're going to start out is to hammer this portion right here, just by laying this on the edge so that we aren't striking that coil we made. So I'm just going to hammer this out slightly. And I'm also going to hammer out this loop right here carefully. Again, being careful not to hammer on that bead that we did. And as you can see, it has opened up somewhat, so I'm very simply going to reclose that with my pliers. And you may also need to slightly reform the shape of your curve up here in case it opened up somewhat. So as a final step, you'll simply sand or file off the tips to make them less irritating when you put them in your ear. And I like to use an emery board for these, the fine side, just because it seems to give me a nice bit of control and just seems to feel better than using a metal file to me. But whatever works. And you do want to notice I'm using a curving motion to kind of round all the edges instead of just going straight back and forth. And then feeling it at the end to make sure it's nice and soft. So there you have it. This is one way to make coil and ball French hook ear wires.